Good morning, guys. Welcome to Ashok IT. So today we are here to discuss about our course, that is Spring Boot and Microservices. So in order to attend this Spring Boot Microservices course, what are the prerequisites? Right? The prerequisites to attend this course, Core Java plus Advanced Java. The Advanced Java, JDBC plus servlets knowledge if you have, then that is sufficient, and basic knowledge on database, SQL queries. So if you know Core Java and Advanced Java, JDBC servlets and SQL, then you are eligible to attend this Spring Boot and microservices training. Who should join for this Spring Boot and microservices training? So if you are a fresher, or you are having experience, or you are having some career gap also, then you can join for this Spring Boot and microservices, because Spring Boot and microservices is very important in order to get the job as a Java developer. In the industry, every project will be developed by using Spring Boot only. And what we are going to learn as part of this course, guys, the course content. So as part of this course, we are going to learn Spring Boot. We are going to learn Spring Boot, okay, and we are going to learn Spring Data JPA. The first we are going to learn about what is Spring Boot, Module 1. Then coming to Module 2, we are going to learn Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA we are going to learn. And coming to Module 3, we are going to learn about Spring WebMVC module. Then Module 4, we are going to learn Spring REST, how to develop. Jagadish, could you please stop your camera? We are going to learn Spring REST. Basically, the REST APIs development we are going to understand in this Module 4, right? Then coming to Module 5. In the Module 5, we are going to learn microservices development by using Spring Cloud. We are going to develop microservices. So to develop the microservices, we need to learn about Spring Cloud concepts. Then coming to Module 8, Module 7, we are going to talk about Spring Security. All right. Along with these things, we are going to learn some tools also. Okay. Some real-time tools like Git, Maven, logging, something like this. Some real-time tools also we are going to learn. Those tools we will conduct as weekend workshops. All right. So this is our Spring Boot and microservices course information, and this course conducting by me. My name is Ashok. I will be the trainer for this course. So I'm having total 11 years experience in IT. So currently I'm working as project manager for one of the product-based company in the banking sector. And in order to attend this Spring Boot microservices training, what are the prerequisites available? So who should join for this course and what are the prerequisites? So if you already completed your Core Java training, Advanced Java training, and a database, then you are eligible for this course, guys. Without knowing Core Java and Advanced Java, please don't come to this course because you cannot understand. Core Java topics, Advanced Java concepts are very important in order to attend our boot and microservices. And you should have knowledge on SQL queries also. Then who should join for this course, right? Every Java developer should know this is Spring Boot and microservices, because in the industry, a lot of demand is there for this Spring Boot and microservices development. So that is the reason everybody should know about this Spring Boot and microservices. Coming to the course content, as discussed, Spring Boot we are going to learn, Data JPA we are going to learn, WebMVC we are going to learn, REST we are going to learn, microservices we are going to learn, Spring Cloud, Spring Security, and some real-time tools we are going to learn as part of this course. Okay, then coming to the course details, as we discussed, this course name is Spring Boot and microservices. This course name is Spring Boot and microservices. And this course code, that is our course code is 45 SBMS. This is our 45 batch for Spring Boot microservices. Then class timings, okay, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. IST daily. So daily 1.5 hour class will be available. 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. IST classes will be available, and Monday to Saturday the class will happen. Sunday weekend free workshops will be available for the tools. All right, and so as part of this course you are going to get daily live classes will be available. Every day daily live class will be available, both classroom and online training. Okay, it is offline batch also. Classroom plus online training will be available. Okay, so today due to rain I'm taking the online session, but from tomorrow offline class also will be available. Daily soft copy notes will be provided. Daily class notes, daily soft copy notes will be provided. Daily soft copy notes will be provided. Okay, and topic wise FAQs we are going to provide. Topic wise FAQs we are going to provide, and we are going to tell you how to prepare your resume. Resume building will be available, and we are going to conduct mock interviews also for you. Daily live classes, both classroom training and online training will be available, and daily soft copy notes will be provided for you. Topic wise interview questions we are going to provide, and we will tell you how to prepare your resume also, and we are going to take some mock interviews for you, and we will provide placement assistance. Okay, who are good in the mock interviews, who are doing good practice, who are performing good in the mock interviews. So whenever we get the requirement from the company, then we will forward your resume also to the company for the interview process. Okay, so this is all about the course, guys. Prerequisites: core Java, advanced Java and SQL, and anybody who want to get the job as a Java developer can join for this Spring Boot and microservices, which is very, very, very important nowadays to get the job as well as to survive in the job also. Then course content, I have divided the course content into 8 modules: Spring Boot, Data JPA, Web MVC, REST API, microservices, cloud, security, and real-time tools. All right. Then coming to the course information, coming to the course info, the course name is Spring Boot Microservices. This course code we are giving as 45 SBMS. Class timings I have given 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. IST. Monday to Saturday the classes will be available. Okay, course highlights. Course highlights, as discussed, daily live classes will be available, classroom and online training will be there, and soft copy notes will be provided. Topic wise FAQs also will be available. Resume building will be explained, how to prepare your resume as a Spring Boot microservices developer. Mock entries will be conducted for you, and placement assistance also will be available for you. Are you clear with my point? Then coming to the course fee structure, guys, coming to the course fee details, fee structure, course fee. If you take plan 1, then the course fees is 8,000 rupees. You are going to get live classes plus notes. Okay, and course fee plan 2 is available. In the plan 2, you are going to get backup videos also, 2,000 rupees extra for the backup videos. Live classes plus notes plus videos. The videos 1 year validity. From the course completion date to the next 1 year, the backup videos access will be available for you. So if you want to attend only live classes and if you want to take the soft copy material, then the course price is 8,000 rupees. Okay, if you want to attend the live classes and if you want to take the backup videos for 1 year validity, from the course completion to next 1 year, the videos will be available. The 2,000 rupees extra for the backup videos. So total the price will be 10,000 for live classes plus backup videos. If you don't want the backup videos, if you want to attend only live sessions, then fees is 8,000 only for you. Is this clear for everyone? As of now, any questions? As of now, anybody having any questions?
Sir, I have a small note, sir.
Yeah.
Spring core, there is no, sir.
Sorry?
Spring core, sir. The
Spring
content.
core module topics we are going to learn in the boot only. Like the what is bin life cycle, what is auto wiring, okay, what is component scanning. Those concepts we are going to learn in the Spring Boot only.
Learn the Spring core and the Spring Boot concept, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Good. Anyone else having any other questions here?
Sir, I am not getting the daily classes videos uploaded. Actually, I am struggling with my pom.xml, so I could have.
Yeah, Kaushal, I already know that you're sure, so we will connect today, Kaushal.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Fine, guys. Good. Now let's get started. So let's start with our syllabus. I hope the course information is clear for you. In order to get all the class notes, backup videos, access. So as you guys are attending, some people are new in this batch, then you can join in this WhatsApp community. I have given the community link in the chat box. So please confirm, are you able to join in that? All right. Good. So the course duration, as I told you, the course duration will be, the course duration is of 3 months of time. This Spring Boot Microservices course is going to take 3 months of time. Daily 1.5 hour class will be available from Monday to Saturday. All right. Now let's talk about what is Spring Boot. Let's talk about what is Spring Boot. So anybody have any basic idea what is a Spring Boot and why we are going for Spring Boot? Any basic research that you guys have done before coming to the class today? What is a Spring Boot? Any idea?
Yes, so Spring Boot is a framework and it's semi-developed project and it is the extension version of Spring.
It is extension version of the Spring. It is a framework. It is semi-developed software. Very good. Correct answer. Next one.
Sir, Spring Boot is a variant of Spring in which it removes the burden of configuration from the developer. The developer has to focus only on the business logic and various configurations required for various libraries and database connections and all that. Spring Boot will take care of it.
Spring Boot will take care of it. Very good answer. Anyone else?
It is application development.
Want to tell few points related to Spring Boot? Whatever you know, whether it is right or wrong, forget about it. What is Spring Boot? Can anyone tell me?
It is application development software.
It is application
development software.
Application development software. Okay.
It is an open source Java framework used for programming in standalone and production Spring-based application.
It is used to
with
develop
minimal
production
effort,
grade applications, right?
With minimal effect, yeah.
Okay. Next.
It is used to develop application with embedded server.
It is used to develop applications with the embedded servers, right? All these are correct answers only. That means you guys already know something related to Spring Boot. You guys done some research on the Spring Boot. It's good, guys. Very good. So you have to follow the same. Before coming to the class, you need to do some research on the topic what we are going to discuss in the class. Yes. Perfect. Now, so let me tell you what is Spring Boot. Spring Boot is an approach to develop Spring-based applications with minimal configurations. Okay, So earlier people used to work with Spring framework to develop the applications. But from 2015-2016, Spring framework came into market in the year of 2003-2004 only. Right. After 10 years, the Spring framework released Spring Boot in order to develop the applications. What is this Spring Boot? Spring Boot is an approach to develop Spring-based applications with minimal configurations. That means already Spring framework available in the market. Spring is called as application development framework. Spring is free and open source framework. Using Spring, we can develop several types of applications. By using Spring framework, we can develop desktop application, I can say. We can develop standalone applications. Using Spring, we can develop web applications. Using Spring, we can develop distributed applications also. So you can do everything by using Spring. Spring is called as application development framework. We can develop the entire application by using Spring. Spring is called as application development framework. When the Spring is already available, then why this Spring Boot came into market? So we already know what is the Spring. Spring is a free and open source Java based framework. Open source and Java based framework. In order to develop Java based applications, we are going to use this Spring framework. By using this Spring framework, we can develop distributed applications, we can develop web applications, we can develop standalone applications also, and we can develop everything in the application by using Spring framework. That's why Spring is called as application development framework. But here the problem with the Spring framework, okay, Spring will provide common logics and we need to focus only on the business logic. Advantages are there and some challenges also available. Spring framework will provide common logics. Spring framework will provide common logics and we need to focus only on business logic. Okay, when you are using Spring framework to develop the project, that the Spring framework will provide the common logics for you and you focus only on the business logic. But what is the challenge? What is the challenge with the Spring framework? Programmer is responsible for configurations like bean.xml we need to create, and we need to manage lot of configurations in the project. This is one of the biggest challenge was there in the Spring framework. So if you are developing your project by using Spring framework, then as a programmer, you are responsible for configurations management. Okay, you need to manage the configurations which are required for your application. To overcome the challenges of the Spring framework, to overcome challenges of Spring, the team released Spring Boot into market. Okay, Spring Boot into market. Whoever the company which developed this Spring framework, they identified there are some challenges available in the Spring framework. What are the challenges available in the Spring framework? So when you are developing the project by using Spring framework, you need to do lot of configurations for your application. You need to take care of the configurations like configuring the beans and telling that which is target, which is dependent. Lot of configurations you need to do in the application. So those configurations are common and repeated in every project. So to overcome the manual configurations in the Spring, the team released Spring Boot into market. So this is Spring Boot is extension for the Spring framework. Spring Boot is not a alternate for the Spring, guys. Spring Boot is an extension for the Spring framework. Spring Boot is an extension for the Spring framework. So earlier, what we used to do? Earlier, we used to develop our application. Okay. Earlier, our Java application is available. That Java application will communicate with the Spring framework so that project can be developed easily. This is my Java application. This Java application will use the Spring framework to develop our project. So we use Spring framework to develop the project. So when you go for this Spring framework, then what we need to do here, Spring will provide common logics. Spring will provide common logics. Okay. So we should write only business logic. We should write only business logic when you go for the project, and we should manage configurations in the project. Okay, so when you develop your Java application by using Spring framework, these are the concepts. So Spring framework will provide the common logics required for the project development. You focus only on the business logic development, and you manage the configurations required for your application. So those configurations are not only for my project, guys. Those configurations are common for every project. So that means bean configuration file, data source configuration, connection pool creation, deploying the project in the server. Those are common things that are required for every project. Common configurations are there in every project. So that's why what the people has done, that company who developed Spring framework, those people identified challenges available in the Spring framework, and they released Spring Boot into market. So what is the meaning of this Spring Boot? Spring Boot is an extension for the Spring framework. So Spring Boot is used to develop Spring Boot is one approach. Spring Boot is one approach to develop Spring-based applications. Spring-based applications with minimal configurations. That means whatever the project you can develop by using Spring framework, same project you can develop by using Spring Boot also. Then how the project development will happen now? So we need to develop our Java project. Our Java project will communicate with the Spring Boot. Then Spring Boot will internally communicate with the Spring framework only. So earlier, our project directly developed by using Spring. Now we are going to develop the projects by using Spring Boot. Then Spring Boot will internally communicate with the Spring framework. Spring Boot will internally communicate with the Spring framework. Here, Spring Boot comes into picture. So what is the benefit? Instead of developing the application using Spring framework directly, why our application is communicating with the Spring Boot? So when you use the Spring Boot here, what is the benefit we are going to get? When we use the Spring Boot here, the benefit is Spring Boot will provide common logics. Spring Boot will provide the common logics for us. Spring Boot will take care of configurations. Spring Boot will take care of configurations. We should focus only on business logic. We should focus only on the business logic. Now you see the basic difference between the Spring framework and Spring Boot. So earlier, people used to develop the Java applications directly by using Spring. When we develop the Java application directly by using Spring, the Spring will provide only common logics for us. We should write the business logic. We should write business logic in the project. We should manage configurations also in the project. And those configurations are something like this. Set up the server to run the application, create the connection pool, okay, and deploy the application, manage the beans, configure the beans, start the IOC containers, and all that stuff we need to do manually in our Spring framework. So to overcome the challenges of the Spring framework, this Spring Boot came into picture. So Java application will communicate with the Spring Boot. Spring Boot is extension for the Spring framework. So we instead of we are communicating with the Spring framework directly, we will communicate with the Spring Boot. Spring Boot will communicate with the Spring framework. So what is the benefit here? So the Spring Boot is extension for the Spring framework. Spring Boot is one approach to develop Spring-based applications with a minimal configuration. The main advantage of the Spring Boot, is auto configuration. The main advantage of the Spring Boot is auto configuration. So what is the meaning of auto configuration? Spring Boot will identify the configuration required for the project, and it will provide the configuration for us. So whatever the configuration is required for the project, that configuration will be taken care by Spring Boot. What kind of configuration it will do? It will start IOC container for our project, start IOC container for the project, and it will perform component scanning. It will perform the beans, it will scan, it will create the bean objects automatically. You no need to write any configuration XML here. So it will perform the component scanning, and it is going to start web server to run your application. You no need to start the server. You no need to download and set up the server in order to run the application, because IOC container will be taken care by Spring Boot only. When you run the boot application, IOC container will start. And if you start your project, component scanning will happen. It will create the bean objects automatically. And if your project is a web application, Tomcat server also will be started automatically. And create a data source object, provide default security for the application, and provides monitoring, provides actuators to monitor our application. Okay, all these things are coming under auto configuration concept in the Spring Boot. Why this much demand is there in the market for the Spring Boot? What is the biggest advantage of using the Spring Boot? What is the biggest advantage available with the Spring Boot? The biggest advantage with the Spring Boot is auto configuration. The biggest advantage with the Spring Boot is auto configuration. So what is the meaning of auto configuration? So what is the definition for the auto configuration? Auto configuration means Spring Boot will identify the configuration required for the project, and it will provide that in runtime of our application. Okay, so whatever the configuration that is required for the project, earlier when we go for the Spring framework, we are responsible to manage that configuration. But when it comes to the Spring Boot, configuration will be taken care by the Spring Boot because of auto configuration concept. Because of this auto configuration concept, the boot will take care of the configuration that is required for the application. So what is the Spring Boot? Spring Boot is an extension for the Spring framework, that is extension for the Spring, and Spring Boot is one approach to develop Spring based applications with minimal configurations. So whatever the projects we can develop by using Spring, same projects we can develop by using Boot also. Then what is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot? When we go for the Spring framework, configuration should be taken care by the programmer manually. But when we go for the Spring Boot, auto configuration support will be available. What is the meaning of auto configuration? Auto configuration means Spring Boot will identify the configuration required for the project, and it will provide that configuration in runtime of our application. So can I show you one simple example of the auto configuration in the Spring Boot? Guys, can I show you one simple example of auto configuration of Spring Boot? Right? Let me create one simple Spring Boot project to demonstrate on what is auto configuration. Let me use my IDE. So I'm using my IntelliJ IDEA. Okay. So I want to create one Spring Boot application. You may not understand what I am doing, the coding today. I just want to demonstrate what is auto configuration. What is auto configuration? So could you please read this? What is auto configuration? Auto configuration means Spring Boot will identify the configuration required for the application. Spring Boot will identify configuration required for the project, and it will provide that configuration in runtime of our application. Okay, so the best example I will show you practically with the IDE example now. So let me take care of one project creation. Okay, so let me go to one website, guys, start.spring.io. This is the official website which is used to create our Spring Boot applications, guys. If you want to create a boot application, you can do it from the IDE or you can do it from the website. There is a website called Spring Initializer website is available. Using this website, we can create Spring Boot application. Okay, start.spring.io. Simple, just our target is not to develop Spring Boot project today. Our target is to understand what is auto configuration and why it is useful for the programmer. How it is useful for the programmer, that is what we are going to discuss. So the why the Spring Boot is having this much demand in the market, what is the power of the Spring Boot? The biggest advantage of using Spring Boot is auto configuration. So let me show you how the auto configuration is working in the Spring Boot. Let me show you how the auto configuration is working in the Spring Boot. Okay, good. Now I am selecting Java project with Maven as a build tool. The Spring Boot version 3.2, group ID, I'm giving as in.ashokit. Artifact, just a demo project only I'm creating. Okay, Java 17 version. When you are using Spring Boot 3.x version, minimum version of the Java is 17. Click on generate. So I'm using start.spring.io. Maven project I want to create using Java language. Boot version 3.3.2 I am using, which is the latest stable version of the Spring Boot. The packaging type is jar and Java 17 version I am using. Click on generate. Okay, with this my Spring Boot project got created and it is downloaded as a zip file. So let me go to my downloads. Let me extract my zip file. Let me go to downloads and let me extract my zip file here. This is demo.zip is available. Let me extract this zip file. Right. So demo project is available. This is my Spring Boot project. Let me import my project into IDE. File, import the project here. File, open. Then where is the project available? File, new. File, open. Import from the existing sources. My project is available in the downloads folder. This is the location. Let me give that. Yes, okay. This is a Maven project. Trust this project, this window. Yes. So with this, my Maven demo project got open. This is my Spring Boot application. I have created this Spring Boot application. I have created this Spring Boot application by using start.spring.io website, which is called Spring Initializer website. So this is the official website which is used to create the boot application, guys. Okay, which is used to create the boot application. Once the boot application got created, by default one Java class also will be available. So demo application, by default one Java class also created here. This is Spring Boot start class. So forget about this. What is the code available in this one? You forget about it. Okay, I am not focusing on boot application development today. My target is to show you what is the power of the Spring Boot, why Spring Boot is having this much demand in the market, what is auto configuration. My boot project is created. So when you see pom.xml, Spring Boot version 3.3.2, by default one Spring Boot dependency is added, Spring Boot starter dependency added, one Java class also created. This is called start class of the Spring Boot. Let me run this application let me run this application now. When I run this project, automatically IOC container will be started. I'm not writing any logic to start the IOC container. Just one Java class is available. In that Java class, main method is available. This Java class is called as start class of the Spring Boot. Every Spring Boot application will execute from the main method only. Sir, in the web application, main method will be available or will not be available. If you develop web application by using servlet, main method will not be available. Okay, main method will not be available. But when you develop the project by using Spring Boot, then definitely main methods also will be available. Now you see my Spring Boot application started, Spring logo is printing, and it is starting our application. IOC container also will be created. So if you go for normal Spring framework, you need to write the logic to start the IOC container. But when it comes to the Spring Boot, auto configuration will be available IOC container will be started automatically. You no need to write that logic. And next, let me do one simple web application development here. Just I'm adding one annotation with a name called REST controller. I'm adding one annotation with a name called REST controller that is available in the dependency. Add Maven dependency. So if you see pom.xml, only boot starter, test starter dependency is available. With this starter, we can develop only standalone application. But I want to start the web application. Okay. To develop the web application, I'm using a REST controller. Create REST controller. For that, more actions. Add Maven dependency. So the REST controller annotation is part of WebMVC dependency, guys. So we need to add one dependency called Spring Boot Starter Web dependency. Spring Boot Starter Web dependency we need to add for that. Okay. So if you add that Spring Boot Starter Web dependency, then web application you can execute by using this Spring Boot. REST controller. So it is asking me to do the more action, add a Maven dependency. So it is searching for the dependency. Where the dependency available? It is not able to find out that dependency. Let me go and get the Maven dependency for this one. The Maven dependency, Spring Boot Starter Web. Just observe, guys. I'm just adding one new dependency, Spring Boot Starter Web dependency. That's it. Just I'm adding a dependency with a name called Spring Boot Starter Web dependency. So when I add that web dependency, then we can use the REST controller here. So whenever I add the web dependency, just to do the Maven update of our project. So right click, reload Maven project. So when we reload this Maven project, then it is going to download that dependency. It is going to download the dependency. It is scanning for that. Dependency is downloading. A new dependency I have added, which is called web dependency. So whenever you add this web dependency, it will provide all the support. It will provide all the support which is required for the web application. Now just observe. I just added one dependency in the pom.xml, that is web starter dependency. Then in this application, I have used REST controller. That's it. Now run the application and see what will happen in the application now. When you add web dependency, it will start the Tomcat server by default. You no need to download and set up the Tomcat server in your system to run your web application. To run your web application, you no need to set up the Tomcat server, guys. Boot will take care of the server that is required for your application execution. Now can you see Tomcat web server started on the port number 8080. So this is one of the example for auto configuration. This is the one of the example for auto configuration. That means if you just add one dependency in the pom.xml, server is coming automatically for our application. So based on the configuration, based on the dependencies we are adding, Boot is identifying what configuration is required for the application, and it is providing that configuration. It is providing that configuration for us. Now you see this one. I have just started my project. When I just start my project, Tomcat server is started with the port number 8080. Auto configuration. Now let me make one web application ready here. I'm writing just one method, public string message method I am writing. Just I will return one message, welcome to Ashok IT. So see how quickly we can set up one web application by using Spring Boot. I'm just using @getmapping/. Let me stop my project. So within a fraction of seconds, you can set up your application that you can directly run. So this is an example for one REST API by using Spring Boot. Run this project. Run this project. Just I have added one web starter dependency and I have created one method. That's it. Now with this, my web application will be ready, and that web application will be executed in the Tomcat server by default with the port number 8080. Am I starting the Tomcat server? Am I starting the Tomcat server, or Spring Boot is taking care of the Tomcat server? Guys,
Spring Boot.
am I starting the Tomcat server, or Spring Boot will take care of the Tomcat server? Come on. Am I starting this Tomcat server or my Spring Boot will take care of the Tomcat server?
Spring Boot take care of.
Why Spring Boot is starting the Tomcat server? Because we added web starter. When we add the web starter, server will be started by server will be taken care by Spring Boot. Now just to go to browser and access this application. Localhost colon 8080. Localhost colon 8080. So when I use 8080, I'm able to access my web application. How much time it is taking to develop and run web application by using Spring Boot, guys? Same thing if you develop by using servlets, you need to create one servlet, you need to configure that in the web.xml, you need to download the Tomcat server, you need to install the Tomcat server, you need to deploy your web application in the Tomcat server. Lot of things you need to do. But when you go for Spring Boot, fast development, that is called rapid development. Spring Boot supports rapid development. What is the meaning of rapid development? By using Spring Boot, you can just run the application directly. You create and run the application directly. You can build production grade applications by using Spring Boot. You can build production grade applications by using Spring Boot. You no need to write the logic to start the IOC container. You no need to download and install the servers to deploy the application. Okay, everything will be taken care by Spring Boot. That's why Spring Boot biggest advantage people will say that is auto configuration. Okay, now
sir, one thing, sir.
Yeah.
If we want to add a JBoss server, means what we need to do, sir?
JBoss, if you want to add directly, you can't do that. Spring Boot will support for 3 servers. One is a Tomcat, second one is a Jetty, third one is a Netty. Those 3 are embedded servers in the Spring Boot. Spring Boot will support those 3 servers. If you want to deploy the project in the JBoss, externally you need to set up the JBoss. That means manually you need to download the JBoss. You need to deploy this application in the JBoss server.
Sir, is Spring Boot is the IntelliJ is embedded the Tomcat server or Spring Boot?
No, sir. It is not IntelliJ. It is not related to IntelliJ. Tomcat server is embedded in the boot only, not related to IDE.
Okay.
You can use Spring Boot you can develop Spring Boot application by using Eclipse, by using Spring Toolsuite IDE, by using IntelliJ also. But currently in the market, people are using IntelliJ IDEA to develop the applications.
Okay, sir.
It is very advanced IDE when compared with Eclipse. Okay. Yeah, good. So guys, can anyone tell me what is the Spring Boot here? Can anyone tell me what is Spring Boot? If anybody asks you, what is the definition of the Spring Boot?
It is
What is the definition of Spring Boot, guys?
It's an updated version of
It is approach to develop.
Yeah, it is updated version of the Spring basically. So we can say Spring Boot is an extension for the Spring framework. Spring Boot is an extension for the Spring framework. And the Spring Boot is one approach to develop Spring-based applications with minimal configurations. Earlier, people used to develop the projects by using Spring framework. But what is the challenge with the Spring framework? Manual configurations we need to do. So we need to take care of lot of configurations when we go for the Spring framework. So to overcome the drawbacks available in the Spring-based applications, the company released Spring Boot. So Spring Boot is extension for the Spring framework, not replacement for the Spring, guys. It is advanced version of the Spring. It is extension for the Spring. And this Spring Boot is one approach to develop Spring-based applications with minimal configuration. That means whatever the projects, what type of projects that you can develop by using Spring, same type of projects you can develop by using Spring Boot also. Same type of projects we can develop by using Spring Boot also. Sir, then by using Spring also we can develop web applications standalone distributed. By using Spring Boot also we can do the same thing. Then what is the difference between these two? Can you see what is the difference of these two?
It is providing the auto configuration.
The biggest advantage with the Spring Boot is auto configuration. The biggest advantage with the Spring Boot is auto configuration. So one of the example I'm showing you for the auto configuration. I have created the Spring Boot application. I have added web starter. Then when you add the web starter, it is starting Tomcat server for us, and it is running our application in the Tomcat server by default. And can I show you one more advantage with the Spring Boot? Just now I created this project. Now observe carefully. I added a web starter. When you want to develop a web application by using Spring Boot, then we are going to use web starter for that. Then I have created one simple REST controller. When I run this application, automatically my project is deployed in the Tomcat server, and I'm able to access my project in the browser. So you can see the message, Tomcat is started. Who is taking care of this Tomcat server? As a programmer, am I downloading and installing this Tomcat server?
No.
It is
As a programmer,
immediately
am I downloading, installing this Tomcat server, or Boot is providing the Tomcat server for us?
Boot is providing Tomcat server.
Boot is providing the Tomcat server for us. Boot is providing the Tomcat server for us. Can I say it is one of auto configuration concept?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Now just go to browser, localhost /8080. When I send a request to this URL, my project is accessible. I'm able to access my application. Now, for this application, I want to security. If people want to access my application, if people want to access this message, they should log in into the application. How much time it will take to create a login page, UI login page, take the credentials, validate the credentials. If credentials are valid, display this message. If credentials are invalid, display error message. Generally, how much time you need to do that implementation, guys? Create one login page to validate the credentials. If user give the valid credential, then give the message. If user give invalid credentials, then say error message. How much time it will take for you to implement that? Generally, approximately. Come on.
Less than 5 minutes.
Login page, UI creation.
2 to 3 days, sir. When it comes to JSP and HTML and
You
everything.
need to create one JSP page. You need to develop a form. You need to apply the styles for the form. When you submit the form, you need to capture form data, and you need to validate that data. If the data is valid, then you need to give the message. If the data is invalid, then you need to give invalid credential. Minimum 1 hour time it is going to take, right?
Yeah,
At
yes,
least
sir.
1 hour time for testing
1 hour,
purpose. 1 hour time it is going to take for you to do the login page development and validate the credentials and all. But if you want to implement the same requirement in Spring Boot, you can do in 1 second. If you do that normally without Spring Boot, it will take 1 hour to develop a login page for our application to secure the pages. But in the Spring Boot, within 1 second, we can complete it. Can I show you that now?
Yes,
I will
sir.
just make
Yeah,
one
yes, sir,
small
please.
change.
Yes, sir, please.
I will make just one small change, then login page will come to our application. That is called auto configuration. Now, just to see here, currently, when I hit this URL, directly I am getting the response. When I hit this URL in the browser, directly I am getting the response. Now, I don't want to give the response to the users directly like this. So I will stop my application. I will go to pom.xml. I will add one dependency in the pom.xml. Spring Boot starter, the dependency name is security. What is the dependency I have added, guys?
Spring security.
Spring Boot starter security dependency I have added. Now let us start our application. That's it. I'm not making any Java code changes. I have just added one dependency in the pom.xml, which is called security starter. Okay, I think this starter is not loaded. So let me do the Maven update on the project, guys. Let me go to reload the project. The dependency should be reloaded.
Sir?
The dependencies should be reloaded.
Sir, what if the my database running on the same port 8080 in
You
that
can
case?
change the port number, sir.
Okay, that is
You can
confusing.
change the port number. Yeah. Now I have added one new dependency in the pom.xml, guys. Let me Go to the Maven. Let me reload the project. When I reload the project, it is going to download the dependencies. I have added one dependency called security. Now go to demo application, then run this demo application. I'm just starting my project now. Just observe. No code changes, nothing. Only pom.xml change I have done. The project is getting started. Right. Now, can I go and hit the URL? Same URL. When I hit the URL now, am I accessing that message directly or login page is coming?
You are directly accessing.
Yes. Did I develop this login page in the project?
No.
No. Now, if I give some wrong data, then what is happening?
Bad credentials. It is not.
So it is validating that. Now, what is the username? By default, username is user. Password is available on the console. So if you see, whenever you start the application, it will print some random password for the login. Generated security password, you copy this password from the console, then you give that password here. So if you give valid credentials, then you are able to access the message. How much time it is taking to develop a login page in the Spring Boot application, guys?
Very less time.
1 hour or 1 second?
Less than 1 minute.
Just a sec.
Yeah.
Just we need to add the dependency and restart the project. 1 second to add the dependency, 1 second to restart the project. Within 2 seconds, our application is ready with the login page. Our application is ready with the login page. Can I say this is auto configuration? So if you add web starter in the pom.xml, if you add web starter in the pom.xml, then Tomcat server is starting automatically. And if you add security starter, login page is coming by default. Suppose I want to run the Tomcat server on the different port number, then there will be one properties file. I want to run the Tomcat on the different port number. Generally, when you are setting up the Tomcat server manually, how to change the Tomcat port number, guys? If you are using manually, if you are installing the Tomcat server, how to change the
We have
Tomcat
to write
To
server.
application properties file.
server.xml file will be available there, right? But here you just write
Server.port
is equal to 9090. That's it. If you use server.port is equal to 9090, that means Spring Boot will understand that programmer is asking to start the Tomcat server with 9090 port number. If you don't write this property, then Boot will start the Tomcat server with 8080 port number. I don't want 8080 because my Oracle database is using 8080. I want to use different port number. Then you just write server.port is equal to 9090. Then Boot will start the Tomcat server on the 9090 port number. You just run the application now. Okay, just click on run. Now you can see on the console it will show on which port number the Tomcat server is starting. Yes, as we have security dependency, password is generated. Then Tomcat server started on the port number 9090. Are we able to change the port number for the Tomcat server?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are we able to change the port number of the Tomcat server?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
By
sir.
default
9090.
port number is 8080. Now we are able to change that port number to 9090. We are able to change the port number to 9090.
Sir, is there any configuration on this, sir? If we change that port number means automatically it will be take and it will run, or is there any
Spring Boot will take care. That is called auto configuration. If you write here, Boot will read this and Boot will understand that programmer is asking to run the Tomcat on the 9090.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So guys,
So
I have given two examples on, I have given the two examples on the auto configuration. What are the two examples we have seen here? So if we add web starter, then Tomcat server is getting started. If you add web starter dependency, web starter Tomcat server is getting started. If you add security starter, then login page is coming. Login page is coming. If you add data JPA starter, then DB connections will be created. DB connection pool will be created. DB connection pool will be created. All these things comes under auto configurations in the Spring Boot. This kind of configuration management is not there in the Spring framework. That is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot. When you go for the Spring framework, all these things you need to do manually. So when you go for the Spring framework, all these things you need to do manually. But when you go for the Spring Boot, auto configuration is available. Auto configuration is available when we go for Spring Boot. And let me show you one more example. I'm creating one Java class in the project, new Java class. So let me take the class name as some car, right? So I want to consider this class as a Spring Bean. Okay, I'm writing one constructor, public car, system.out.println. I will say that car constructor executed. If the constructor is executed, that means IOC container started, object is created. So to represent this class as a Spring Bean, I will use one simple annotation called @component. There is no XML. I have created one Java class, and for this Java class, I'm using @component annotation. Now let me run my project. So I'm not writing the logic of any XML configuration. I'm not writing the logic to start the IOC container. Now you see what will happen in the project. Component scanning. Can you see car constructor is executed now? Car object is created or car object is not created?
Created.
Object is created. So can I say IOC is started?
Yes, sir.
Can I say IOC is started? Who is starting the IOC? Programmer is starting the IOC or Boot is starting the IOC?
Spring Boot.
Boot is starting.
So this is called rapid application development. Very quickly we can develop our applications by using Spring Boot. Lot of auto configuration concepts are available here. So they have reduced the burden for the programmer. Using Spring Boot, we can achieve rapid application development. Using Spring Boot, we can achieve rapid application development. So what is the meaning of rapid application development, guys? Quick development and execution. So we can build production grade applications by using Spring Boot that we can just run. Production grade applications we can build by using Spring Boot. We can just run those applications. Are you guys clear with my point?
So you said about port numbers, right?
Yeah.
So there will be only some particular port numbers, or any port number we can use.
You can give any port number. So 4-digit number will be available for the web servers, right? You can give any number.
Okay, sir.
Sir, as part of
that by default for Tomcat is 8080. If required, we can change it.
Sir, if I want custom login page, then
You can
what should I
design
do?
that, sir. You can design the custom login pages also. You can customize them. This is default I'm showing you. You can do the customization.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sir,
apart from
only local version.
Sorry?
It's working only local version, sir.
It's working only?
Local version.
Currently, it is running in my system. It is local host. If I deploy in the AWS, it will be for the public access also.
Okay.
I will show you how to deploy the applications in the AWS cloud also.
And sir, if there any means multiple databases there, then how can we access that one?
Yes, sir. We can Spring Boot supports for one database connection, multiple database connections also. That is part of the syllabus. I will explain that exactly.
Okay. Sir, for Spring Boot 3, so is it mandatory to have Java 17?
Yes, sir. For Spring Boot 3, if you want to, Spring Boot latest is 3.x version. To work with the Spring Boot 3.x version, Java 17 is mandatory in your system. If anybody using Java 8 or 11 versions, please uninstall and set up Java 17 in your system, which is mandatory for our class.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we can have multiple JDKs, right, sir?
Yeah, that is possible. Java 17 is required for our course.
Yeah. Apart from that, sir, when we say component scan, so it it scans the
that is future topic,
other
sir. Component.
stereotypes annotations also, like @service and @repository also.
Yeah, we will discuss all those annotations. So today I'm not concentrating on the coding part today. Today, just I want to tell you what is the Spring Boot, why this much demand is there for Spring Boot in the market. So I hope you got my intention.
Hello.
What is Spring Boot?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Sir,
Yes,
in
tell
course
me.
prerequisite, you said servlet is required. So complete servlet practical knowledge is required.
Yeah, basic, if you can develop at least one application by using servlet and can deploy by using Tomcat, that is sufficient.
Hello,
Sir, it is outdated now.
Yeah, people will not use that, sir. Yes, in the industry we don't use it.
Okay, if
Hello?
we have zero knowledge of servlet, so can I go with this course then?
Sir, servlets are required for Spring Web MVC. After 1 month, Web MVC will start. In this 1 month, you can learn the servlet basic concepts on your own also, no problem.
Okay, means we are going to use that servlet practical concepts in this course.
Yes, sir. Some
Without
concepts, some concepts will be. We don't use servlet directly. If you have knowledge on the servlet, Spring Web MVC you can understand easily.
Okay.
Because
Then
Web
up to what
MVC is
sir?
developed based on the servlet only.
Yeah,
That is the
means
reason.
because advanced Java batch is started, sir. So how much level should I go with servlet for this course?
If at least one example you can develop on servlet, that is sufficient. One example.
Single web application.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And sir, multi-threading is also required for this course?
Yes, sir. Basic. So in the core Java, they will explain multi-threading. No?
Yeah, no, in not detail.
Yeah, not in detail. No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Sir,
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I am fresher, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah,
I don't know the iOS container, and
I will explain, sir. I will explain what is IOC container, what is dependency injection, how to
Yes,
do
sir,
the dependency injection, what is auto wiring, what is bean life cycle, what is bean scope. Everything I will explain. You don't worry.
Yes, sir. I don't know that. I don't know the web starters dependencies. Architect, I don't know, sir. What is architect? What is dependency? I don't know, sir.
No problem, sir. No problem. So today you understand the definition of Spring Boot?
Yes, sir.
What is the definition of Spring Boot?
The Spring Boot, which is we can reduce the project, sir. As Spring frameworks and Spring Boot, we can reduce the core length, sir.
Spring Boot is approach to develop. Spring Boot is an approach to develop Spring-based applications very easily. What is the main advantage of the Spring Boot?
It's auto wiring, sir.
What is the main advantage of the Spring Boot?
Auto wiring, sir.
Auto wiring or auto configuration? Auto configuration. The main advantage of the Spring Boot is auto configuration. So what is the example we have seen for auto configuration today? Guys, what is the example we have seen for auto configuration today? When we add web starter,
the login page is coming.
When we add the web
Tomcat
starter,
server,
Tomcat server is coming.
login page.
When we add the web starter dependency, Tomcat server is coming. When we add the security starter, login page is coming. When we add the JPA starter, database connections will be created. So these all are the examples for auto configuration. Okay, so today we just understood the course details. What is this course? Who is your trainer? What are the prerequisites and who should join for this course? What we are going to learn as part of the course, class timings, course duration, course fees, and what are the benefits you are getting from this course. Okay, and we just understood one point: what is the Spring Boot? What is the advantage of the Spring Boot? That's it.
Hello,
so from tomorrow we are going to start in detail how to create a Spring Boot project. What is the Spring Boot project structure? Okay, and what are the advantages of the Spring Boot, and everything we are going to discuss from tomorrow onwards. Today is just introduction. What is the Spring Boot? What is the advantage of the Spring Boot? That's it.
Sir, can you please share the detailed syllabus like in
detailed syllabus you can download from our website, sir. So if you go to Ashok IT website, there you can see courses offering. In the courses offering page, you can see the Java full stack, Java course. In that Java Spring Boot is available. if you see the view details, then this is the detailed syllabus of the Spring Boot. Download course content. That Spring Boot complete course content document you can download. The PDF is available.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
So go to Ashok IT website, go to courses offering. In that courses offering, select Java. So once you select Java, there you can see Spring Boot. If you click on the Spring Boot details, download course content option is available. If you click on the download, PDF file will come. This is what we are going to learn in this course.
Yeah. Thank you.
Small
Okay.
notes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
You have shown that auto configuration feature with the help of login page by adding one dependency only. But sir, it offers only a default page. Na? If we need a forgot password and then we have to design
We
all
can
code
customize
again.
that, sir. We can customize that, sir. We are going to customize that.
That is also with the help of dependency possible, or we have to do some more coding.
Some coding is required. When you want customize, some coding we need to write.
Okay.
Sir, hello, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, I don't know other type of component, other type of annotations.
Sir, forget about coding. Whatever the code, I am closing my IDE. Today target is not to write the code. If you
Sir,
don't know, no problem.
sir, I have one doubt. Hello,
Yeah.
sir. Sir, while I'm downloading this IntelliJ, it's asking for this license ID. Can you
Sir,
help
you
me?
need to download IntelliJ community version. Sir, I will take a class.
Okay.
How to work with IntelliJ IDE, I will explain. Don't worry.
Okay.
So IntelliJ 2 flavors available. Enterprise Edition, Community Edition. If you download Enterprise Edition, it will ask license. If you download Community Edition, it will not ask the license.
Okay. Thank you.
Ashok sir, one doubt sir actually.
Yeah, tell me.
సార్ CI/CD జెంకిన్స్ తర్వాత AWS సర్వర్లో ఇది చేయటము అనే దానికి కొంచెం డిఫరెన్స్ చెప్తారా సార్?
AWS లో మనకి so we will set up the machines, servers will set up in the AWS cloud. Then we will use Jenkins to deploy that project into the machine which is available in the AWS cloud. I will show you in the class.
Okay sir, thank you.
Sir, you said that we'll build an e-commerce website in JRTP, right?
Correct.
Will we use Spring Boot in that?
Yes, madam. In the today morning JRTP demo also completed. Did you attended that?
I have attended the first class. Yeah.
Sorry?
In the first batch only I have attended.
Yeah, we will use Spring Boot backend for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, sir. Sir, Spring Boot.
Yeah.
Sir, Spring Boot implement చెప్తున్నారు. దానికి Spring Boot
Sorry?
అంటే ఇప్పుడు Spring Boot చెప్తున్నారు కదా సార్ కాన్సెప్ట్.
Your voice is not clear, sir. I can't hear your voice.
Sir, Spring Boot చెప్తున్నారు సార్. Hello, sir.
Guys, I am not hearing the voice. Type in the chat box.
Hello,
sir. I'm audible.
Hello, sir. I have presented my concern to chat.
Yeah, Pallavi, what is your question?
So actually, I'm a bit confused between yesterday's and today's session.
What is the confusion?
Yesterday we are on injections. You told us field injections we are going to take, and that
Yes,
I'm
madam.
just
So
confused.
this is Spring Boot, right? From now onwards, we are going to develop the projects by using Spring Boot.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Sorry.
Guys, 1 minute. Let me stop the recording. We'll go with the doubts clarification.